This is the Golf GTI, and it's a perfect illustration of what I'm on about. Yes, it is quick, and it should be quick. It's got more power than a 1980s Ferrari. But then again, it needs a lot of power because it's so big and so heavy. The hot hatch wasn't always like this. To show you what I mean, here's the original Golf GTI from 42 years ago. And it's a very different animal indeed. Now that car wasn't about massive rear legroom or a big bulky body or a huge duvet of sound deadening or all this equipment or any of that stuff. It was just about having a bit of a laugh, darting around in a biscuit tin body of a car. Sadly, they don't make them like that anymore. Well, except when they do. This is the Volkswagen UP, the smallest car VW sells. And now they've made a GTI version. A car that's been created to resurrect the spirit of that original Mark I Golf. In fact, the similarities are uncanny. Let's start with horsepower. The original had just 108, and the UP GTI has a similarly modest 113, giving both cars a 0 to 60 time of around 9 seconds. It's also a little bit 80s retro in here. For a start, you start it by turning a key. There's no button to press for people who want to pretend to be fighter pilots. You change gear using a stick and an old-fashioned clutch pedal. And I haven't actually looked in the boot yet, but I expect there's a miners' strike in there, or the speeches of Margaret Thatcher. However, one of the reasons the Mark I GTI was so much fun to drive was because it was so light. But the UP, being a modern car, weighs a portly 200 kilograms more. So, with all that extra weight to lug around, is the new boy actually any fun on the move? Well, its modernity does pay under the bonnet. This has just a 1-litre engine with only 3 cylinders, but it does have a turbocharger for a bit of extra oomph, and it makes a fantastic growly noise. Listen to this. You don't get that in a modern Golf GTI. It's all smooth and asinine. Now that noise, there it is there. It's a bit of a cheat, to be honest, because there's something called a sound actuator under the bonnet, and it artificially pumps that growl into the cabin. But so what? It's very satisfying. So, the engine's a bit of a hoot. And, despite the extra weight, the UP's pretty nimble through corners, too. Yeah, you see, small, chuckable, enjoyable. It is proper fun. Feels like I'm doing hundreds of miles an hour. You know what this is like? It's a bit like an 80s action movie where the same thing blows up 10 times. And it's that compared with, say, a CGI blockbuster full of amazing effects. One is a simple laugh, the other is a bit too bloated and, frankly, up its own arse. But even though the UP harks back to simpler times, it still comes with climate control, heated seats, Bluetooth, a reversing camera, and, for when your 17-year-old borrows it, traction control that you can't turn off. So, it's quicker than it sounds, it scampers around like a spaniel, and it's got just enough kick to make it comfortable, but no more than that. And it gives you all this for about £14,000. Or, to put it another way, it's half the price of a new Golf GTI, and I honestly believe twice the fun. I might actually want one.